Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Maggie Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is with great pleasure that I stand to talk about the performance and the achievements of the Department of Conservation in this past year. I commend the hard-working Select Committee, in particular its chair, Scott Simpson, the Member of Parliament from Coromandel, has a great sense of humour about the greatness of his own beaches, but apart from those small flaws I suppose, bias, he is in all other ways an outstanding chair. And the Select Committee across the House, I think, have worked very constructively to ensure that there is robust discussion around the key elements of conservation. Conservation is at the heart of who we are as New Zealanders. It is certainly at the heart of why so many visitors want to come here and enjoy what we have to offer. Some 35% of people who come to New Zealand say they come here because of our nature. DOC's ambitious aim is to extend that to around 50%, and I think that is very much within reach. Conservation takes many forms. Partnerships have become something that is an important part of modern conservation, and the Department of Conservation, under the visionary leadership of Lou Sanson, DOC's in his DNA. He has assembled a stellar senior leadership team who work very collaboratively and involve businesses, partnerships around philanthropy and conservation groups throughout the country, of which there are many hundreds, some 400 alone, work conscientiously at weekends on their holidays and work, for example, on Kiwi conservation. As other members and other speakers have alluded to it, a lot of what you do when you're trying to save things is you kill the things that kill them before they try and extinguish some of our species. The battle for our birds, which has had its very successful conclusion, was really the first time, I think, that we did landscape predator control on this scale that we have. It was around 600,000 hectares of quite hard to reach countryside. Aerial use of 1080 is the best weapon that we have in this battle, and as a result of that successful battle, we were able to save certainly 10 birds from local extinction and short and long-tailed bats and our snail species. These are vitally important if we want to be able to ensure our ecosystems stay in balance. And as a department, DOC has worked very carefully with the various agencies who have some unease, it is fair to say, around the use of 1080. And it is very interesting again to see the work that is being done in new technology. The Kiwi ingenuity number 8 wire factor is very much part of who we are, and it is something that we do very successfully. And when it comes to finding new and innovative ways to humanely kill creatures such as rats, stoats, possums, weasels, they do it very well, and mice as well. So there are a number of ingenious inventions in New Zealand, and we have taken that to the world. And when DOC looks at the various ways in which we can cope and with the challenges of these eco-invaders, these creatures who have come here and made it more than their home. They have tried to take us over, and they have, unfortunately, brought many of our key species to the brink of extinction. But we are determined to win the fight, and I believe with the team that we have and with the collaborations that we have, we will succeed. Some of the partnerships that we have been able to build have achieved some really remarkable results. One which I just want to dwell on tonight briefly in my call here is what's happened in Mount Taranaki with the maunga. There has been a project that has been pulled together with Wild About Taranaki and philanthropic and business interests, a boost to the local economy, a project that will see a major investment of $24 million over 10 years. Essentially, that means in ridding that extraordinary mountain of its pests, of getting rid of the deer, the pigs, and now the big challenge is to get rid of the goats. Then will therefore be a ring of steel around the maunga, and that will prevent that reinfestation, so that the birds that have been driven from that place will now come back. These are ambitious goals, but when you look at what is happening in Taranaki, you have a community that's working together to aspire towards achieving these goals in partnership with DOC. So we have the Next Foundation to thank for that as well. Genesis Energy have committed to an ongoing partnership with DOC over the next 5 years, the main focus of which is the ongoing FEO Forever program. I'd have to say that sometimes when you give something, you get back more than you gave, and that has certainly been my experience in talking to the staff who work for Genesis Energy, for example. I've had the privilege of being in the wild and releasing these extraordinary little blue ducks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Barry.
And I would, the reward and the enthusiasm and the bonding of the staff who like each other a lot more for going out on a shared challenge and achieving some goals is something that business acknowledges and recognises. I don't think some of these partners could pull out because their staff wouldn't let them. FEO Forever is one of the great success stories, and I think other speakers have spoken about what has happened with Kiwis for Kiwis. We got $11.2 million of new money, and that has been very well spent, and the money that we have put into community groups to do what they have always done, but we've removed the struggle that they have had to raise money. So we have launched the programs, the Kiwi Guardians, which is a new one, a partnership with DOC and Toyota, which is involving younger children. If we can get them out early away from their computers and television sets and other distractions and get them into nature, then we have a great chance, I think, of igniting and enthusiasm that will be with them for life. Getting children out into nature also involves little inducements, collectible wooden medallions, which are very much the thing that young people like at the moment, have been enabled by our partnership with Toyota, and we are raising new generations of conservationists. This site, there are 20 sites around New Zealand that have been focusing on some of the main centres. It was launched in my own electorate area of North Head, and we have seen significant increases in the numbers of people going there, because when young people go there to a site and like it and enthuse, they bring their parents along as well. And as Sarah Dowie, my colleague who's also on the Select Committee, has indicated, healthy nature, healthy people was the theme for last year's Conservation Week. It will be again for this year, and I really commend her on Mud Adventure Discovery. More than 1,000 people took part in that. It was a wonderful collaboration between a local Member of Parliament with vision, energy and ingenuity, working alongside the Department of Conservation and others to achieve a great day out and something that has enriched lives. Our goal, and it is highlighted in this report, is to have 90% of New Zealanders' lives enriched through a connection to nature. Research has shown, and this has been a compelling thing for my colleague, the Minister of Health, that for every kilometre walked or cycled, the health vote is saved $2.70 in future health costs. So if you extrapolate that out to the Otago Rail Trail, that's worth about $2.66 million of avoided health costs each year. So on every level, this makes sense. It enriches us as a people. It enables us to save money and redirect it into areas where it is better spent. And I think that the Good to Grow partnership, which the Department of Conservation signed with the Department of Corrections, is also enabling people who've made bad choices in life, enable them to get better qualifications around an ability to earn a living when they get out of jail or when they get through their periodic detention and community service. We will teach them how to grow things. Some of them admittedly are quite good at growing things anyway, but we can formalise that with good qualifications. With plants, the war on weeds has been a significant outcome from the last 8 months or so. We are really stepping up and have started the process already of ensuring that wilding pines do not continue on with their hideous progress of encroaching on our natural landscape. If we don't do anything to stop wilding pines now, which are basically escapees, these things are too good at breeding, they will take over nearly a quarter of our natural landscape within the next 20 years. So it is my priority as the Minister of Conservation to ensure that that progress is halted, and I'm working alongside my colleague, the Honourable Nathan Guy from MPI, to achieve that outcome. So the Dirty Dozen Weeds, we named 12 this year. There will be another 12 next year to encourage gardeners, to encourage everybody really to try and take a part in this. It's all very well to sit back and carp about the government needing to do more, and that is true. We will never resile from it, but it is vitally important, I think, that people engage, and we need to win hearts and minds if we are to win people over to the idea that they need to be part of the solution. Last year, $918,000 went to weed busting groups. That was delivered through DOC's Community Fund, and it's part of $1.2 million that was committed to combating weeds. As Select Committee points out, the wilding pines are one of the most pressing dangers. I absolutely commend the New Zealand Wilding Conifer Management Strategy, and I think that we're on the right track. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The question is that the reports of committees relevant to the environment sector be noted. Those who are of that opinion will say aye. Contrary opinion will say no. The ayes have it. The question now is that the reports relevant to the external sector